Hey everyone, I'm Jen, and I own a veterinary technician relief business.
And I'm Michelle. I own a veterinary technician mobile house call business.
And you are
And you are
listening
listening
to
to
Endless
Endless
Journeys,
Journeys,
the Vet
the
Tech
Vet Tech
Odyssey
Odyssey
podcast.
podcast.
In this podcast, we will be discussing and meeting with credentialed technicians who have created their own path with business ownership within the veterinary space.
Our goal is to help inspire burnt out vet techs before they leave the industry altogether through our stories and the stories of other vet tech business owners. Hey everybody, it's Jen and Michelle. We are coming back for part 2 of our burnout episode. So for those of you who are listening, we're actually doing this in 2 parts. We did some on Thursday and now it is Monday, and we're restarting off with the second half of the episode today. And it's actually funny that we're talking about burnout because Jen, we had scheduled on a non-regular day, and Jen had a happy unexpected thing happen to her. And then I had my facial, so we both tied this around burnout, but both of us were doing things to prevent burnout during this episode. So I thought that was kind of interesting how
Yeah.
we did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. Yep.
Yeah.
Michelle needed to get in her facial and I needed to get my workout in because that's my one big self-care thing that is the most important to me more than anything. So as soon as she was like, oh, I need a little bit more time, I'm like, cool, I'm going to the gym. I'm getting that out of the way. And then I won't have to stress about it the rest of the day. And then I can just focus on work. So that is, yeah, I think it's funny. But I mean, it's important.
Yes.
Those are important things.
Yes, yes. And earlier in the episode, we were talking about, I think Jen had mentioned the badge of honor of when you're a technician in a clinic and you work like 12, 13 hours a day without a bathroom break. You're not getting your lunch break, and we wear it like a badge of honor. And then as I was pulling into my driveway, I was asking Jen, about the time she'll be back from the gym and how much more longer I'm going to be to get ready because I had my facial, and I'm like, badge of honor, self-care. I feel
Yeah.
like that should be the badge of honor right there, is self-care so you don't burn out.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So we'll continue on for our episode, and thank you for being with us on this part 2. And just from a mobile tech standpoint of different things that can lead you to burn out is loneliness. In the beginning, when I started my business, I'll be honest, I felt very disconnected from the veterinary world because it was just me and the few clients I had and my car. So for me, something that I did to combat that was listening to veterinary podcasts during my workday, because I still feel like I have veterinary people around me that get what I'm going through or that are still in the industry where I can hear about cases. I still love hearing about cases like a diabetic cat or a dog that, is having GDV surgery. I love hearing about that stuff. So that helped me a lot to feel a little bit less isolated. So I feel like isolation can also be a burnout factor as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yes. Jen, out of curiosity, do you feel any of that isolation if you're not in a clinic all the time or you're moving around to certain clinics?
No, I mean, not so far. Thankfully, I have worked for some very great clinics and I've done relief for some awesome clinics that have just made me feel so welcome immediately. The people, and they're always so interested in me as a person, and they're interested in my life, and they're interested in how I do relief and what a relief tech is. And so I've met some really great people, and they've always just been so kind, and they've been really understanding as far as like, if you have any questions, just let me know. And yeah. So and I remember going to a clinic one time and being really nervous. It was the first time that I had relieved for them. Of course, I was super nervous. And then the second time I went, I was even more nervous, which was weird. And then I just remember people just being so kind again. And they're like, Jen, and it was just so easy. And it's like I had been there, and I think it had been a while since I had been there again. And I remember even saying on like my second or third day, and I was like, yeah, I was really nervous to come back. And they're like, why? Why were you so nervous? And they thought it was more like, because they were saying, oh, have you not been working in emergency? And I said, no, that wasn't it at all. It was more of just being around, the people again. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, no, we're not like that." So, I've been lucky enough, thankfully, that I haven't necessarily felt that. I think I feel like that sometimes when because it's like I finish my shift, and usually when I'm home and when I'm working locally at home, I finish my shift, I get home, and then I come home to my dogs, to my house, to my husband, and it's my normal schedule. But when I'm traveling, it is just me. And so I get to either my hotel room or, the apartment that I'm staying at. And I do feel a little bit lonely. It is nice to have my alone time, I think, for the first night. But then after that, I'm starting to miss my
My
husband
bed.
and my dogs and my bed. And so that's why I usually only do about 3 shifts in a row. I know some people are way more badass than me and they can do like 4 or 5 or even 6,
Okay.
or they stay there for a couple weeks. I cannot do that. I don't think I could do it. I think the 3 days is enough for me. So everyone's a little bit different, but I have that freedom to be able to choose that as well for myself. And I know what I can do and I know what my limit is. So that's really important in making sure that as long as you know what your limit is, you can still do those things.
I like that. Yeah, and I agree. I couldn't be away from home for 2 weeks. I think that'd be so hard. I actually did it for, 2 weeks. I was down in Kentucky back in 2023, and I lived out of a Hilton, and even though it was nice and I had my family nearby, I missed my husband and my dog during those 2 weeks. I was ready to go back home, and I was down there for work and to see family at the same time, and yeah, 2 weeks if you're uh, a relief tech and you're listening to this now, and you are away from home for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like, Godspeed. That's just I give you credit because I know I can't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I think about, oh, the money would be nice, but once that 3rd day hits, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go home. I wanna go home."
Yep.
And I've even had people say, "Oh, man, aren't you gonna be tired? Do you wanna stay and sleep a little bit, or do you wanna sleep over an extra night and then drive home the next day?" And I say, "No. I wanna go home. I
Wanna
just
go
wanna go
home.
home to my husband. I don't care how long the drive is. I just know where the destination is,
We're the
and I know
best.
that I'll be in my own bed, and I'm gonna see my doggos, and my husband, honestly, he can't stand being away from me for that long either. Every single time I've come home on that last night, he is no matter how late it is, he is standing there and he is waiting for me, and I open the door and he's like, "Give me a hug, give me a kiss." And yeah, so I don't think he could handle any longer than that either.
Oh, I love that. I could do, like, 1 night, maybe 2 nights, and then I'm like, "Honey, where you at? Are you coming home?"
Mhm. Yeah.
But he never leaves the house. Maybe, like, once every 3 years, he'll be gone overnight. It doesn't happen very often anymore at this new job, so, yeah, kind of attached.
Yep.
Alright.
So, another thing where we talk about burnout and boundaries, and I think I've talked about this a little bit in previous episodes, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. Again, talking about how when you are creating your business and you're starting out for as a fee for yourself. And of course, you have to think about different clinics. And myself, I don't charge the same for general practice as I would emergency clinic or probably even like a spay and neuter clinic. But you do have to think about what you're charging and what your cost is, and you're not getting benefits. You're probably paying for your own health insurance. You are paying for your own liability insurance if you're able to get liability insurance, and your own LLC. And you're probably paying for, some people are probably paying for QuickBooks and things like that. So just very small purchases for your business that, of course, you can write these things off, but you should be getting paid more than a technician that is full time. Because a technician that's full time, yes, they're getting paid less, but they're getting paid those benefits. They're getting their health insurance paid for. They are probably getting CE paid for, or sometimes they're getting a scrub allowance. So all of those things correlate into that. So it is not fair if you are going on as a relief technician and you own your own business, that they would be offering you the same amount of money that they're offering their full-time technicians. And it is important that you are charging and covering all of those expenses. But it's also important that if you are charging more, that you make sure that you're worth that as well. So that's why you need to be professional, and that's why you need to make sure that you are pretty highly skilled depending on what you're being hired for, and that you are a fast learner, and that basically your first day wouldn't be like a typical first day like if you were in training. Your first day is you're pretty much learning what you can within the first couple of hours, and then boom, you're able to do the rest of it by yourself. If you have any questions, of course, that's normal about certain things. I've had questions about, oh, where do you keep this equipment? Or sometimes I just say, how do you guys do this? What is your protocol of doing this? But for the most part, it's pretty much the same everywhere. So if I have questions, it's mostly just about estimates and how they charge for things, or what their certain protocol is for triaging, just simple things like that, because everybody's a little bit different. But for the most part, it would be about the same. So just be sure that if they are lowballing you, or if they say that they can't afford you, then that is up to you to decide whether you want to take that risk of keeping that job and seeing if you want to see it through, or saying, you know what, I can't work for that much money. I need more money than that. And there's going to be clinics that are not going to pay you what you ask for. That's just going to be the way that it is. I would probably say I've had more clinics tell me no, they're not going to pay me what I'm asking for than clinics that do.
Oh,
And I know it's hard to walk away, especially when you're first starting out your business. I I know that that can be really hard. And I can't say I necessarily did that the first time, but I know that when I did say yes to clinics that were even maybe lowballing me, I was I was burning myself out because I was working jobs that I was like, "Well, they're not even paying me what I know that I'm worth, and I'm working this job." So, it can be really difficult in the beginning, but you do have to stay strong and say, "No, I'm worth more than that." And I will say, and again, I think I've spoken about this in particular in another podcast, so I'm not gonna get into it too much, but I've negotiated a little bit with clinics. I have
good.
had clinics that straight up tell me, "You're too expensive," or, "We have to check the budget, and
Oh,
then we'll get back to you," and I've never heard from them again.
oh,
And that is a little disappointing, because then I've had other clinics that say, where I've given them a number and they say, "Well, that's a little bit high, but can we negotiate a little bit? Can we talk about, maybe this will be the shift fee, and then we will still pay you for your travel fee, and we're still going to pay for your hotel." And I've done the numbers a little bit, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I can make that work." And then in my head, I'm thinking, "Okay, and if I don't like it and they can't offer me more money, then I just won't ever work there again." So, one of my favorite clinics that I do relief for, they negotiated with me a little bit, and it wasn't that far off. So I wasn't that disappointed with what we ended up with as far as what they were paying me. But I mean, I feel like that's respectful, and the fact that they were willing to negotiate and I was willing to negotiate, sometimes that's how business works in general, and that's how you're going to figure out a little bit of what other clinics are going to be willing to pay you as well. So I'm not as black and white on that. Especially, I feel like if I feel like I'm gonna really get something out of working at that clinic and I'm really gonna enjoy it, then I'll negotiate a little bit. So if if you're doing this and you're not making enough money because clinics aren't willing to pay you what they should be paying you to cover all of your business expenses, then it's not gonna be worth it. So you really have to stand your ground on that. And I remember Jacqueline had told me that if you have clinics that are lowballing you, you
oh,
can do a first shift discount fee so that they can see
oh,
how worth it you really are. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, this is your shift to prove that you're worth getting paid for. And you can say, okay, I'm going to work this shift for a discount fee. And then if you guys still are interested in me, and if you guys really like what you see, then the rest of my price is going to be my normal price, but I'll give you a
oh, I like
discount
that.
for maybe my first shift. And
I
I
think
thought
that's
that
a
was
good
actually a really
idea.
good idea.
I like that. That's a good one, Jacqueline. I think that's a wonderful idea to test out the waters a little bit on both ends. I that's brilliant, actually.
Right, because I mean, I get it in a certain way where they hear that number and they're probably shocked because it's way more than what they're paying their normal technicians, and then their first thought is probably like, "Well, why should I pay you that?" And
Oh,
especially maybe if it's just for one day, they're like, "Okay, well, are you even worth that? I don't wanna waste my money on you if you're not even worth that." And so I can kind of see what they're thinking, but that way you can go in, you could be a badass, and you can show them, like, I mean, most relief technicians are not like normal full-time employees. They they're they can get it pretty much on the first day. They don't have to be trained for a full 6 weeks to 6 months.
yeah.
And I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm just saying that there are some people that can learn faster on their feet than others. So that's part of what we're getting paid for. And if you can show that, then maybe they'll be like, "Okay, yeah, no, this girl is worth it. Okay, so we can pay her this." And sometimes you do have to explain that, "Hey, I'm not getting paid benefits. I'm
Yeah,
paying most of these things out of my pocket, and this is why I'm expecting more money." And if they still don't understand that, then it's just not the clinic for you.
that's as you're talking about that, I'm over here getting, like, revved up, so if you're watching us on YouTube, you probably see my face, like, getting revved up when Jen was like, "That's I mean, this is a business of business," so you would think that these vet clinics would understand that you have to pay for your own health insurance, like you said, your scrub allowance, your CE. So why wouldn't you be more? Because you have to provide that for yourself in order to be good for that clinic.
Mhm.
Like that's 100% understandable. Like I feel like if I was a practice manager, which I've never had any experience in it, so I could be stepping out of my lane, but I feel just that being said, and owning a business or at least participating in the business side of it, I would recognize that this tech has an LLC, has all these expenses that she obviously or he is going to cost way more than our techs that are currently under us. And it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a luxury service, but I feel like it is a little bit, but it should be standard, I think. But it is kind of a luxury service to have somebody come in, hit the ground running. So you're going to pay premium dollar for a premium tech that's coming in and just going right to town for you.
Yeah. And think about how much they're paying their relief veterinarians.
Oh, I wanna know. Oof.
Why aren't they paying their relief technicians the same way? And and I feel like it's so taboo a little bit with how they're so quick to hire relief veterinarians, but the thought of hiring a relief technician is just like I said, it's so taboo. People don't even think
Really?
about it, or they think it's a waste. They think it's a waste of time. They think it's a waste of money. They don't understand why it's so beneficial to hire a relief technician because in some cases, oh well, it's going to cost us more money, but it's like if you're short-staffed, if you're that short-staffed and you need people, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you use that?
Right? I'm sure that, like you said, the techs appreciate you because they're like, "Thank God we got an extra set of hands here." But the
Right.
office manager who's upstairs working on spreadsheets, as they should be, is probably not realizing how stretched thin their staff is, and
No.
Jen is here to prove why relief techs are so important to this industry. I have a my husband's best friend's wife, she's a traveling nurse, so she does what you do except for on the human side,
Mhm.
and it's so normal over there.
Yeah.
It's just a part of their industry is having traveling nurses. I'm like, "Why aren't" again, we're a few years behind, but that's why Jen's here coming out in the open discussing it because it needs to be more normalized that we have traveling vet techs and it should not be taboo and we should be paid our worth. And by the way, that traveling nurse, from what my husband told me, maybe I shouldn't say this, 3 figures a year, y'all.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Think about that. Let's think about that one for a minute, okay? 3 figures a year. And I'm like, how do we live in the same subdivision as them?
Yeah, because I mean, they're probably getting paid as much as veterinarians are getting paid, honestly. Think about it. You're traveling away from home, and you are putting yourself in uncomfortable positions where a lot of people are like, "Well, wouldn't it just be easier to have a full-time job where you can get benefits?" And it's one of those things where like, "Yeah, it would be easier, but that's why I should be getting paid more."
Right. Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, full-time I mean, we could start off from this, and that's a whole other episode, but you can start off in saying, like, oh, okay, well, how is it fair that they're paying relief technicians more than they're paying the full time employees? That's not fair. They should be paying the full time technicians more money, and then they should be paying the relief technicians more money from
Even
that base
yes.
pay. So, because the amount of money that I'm getting paid as a relief technician is how much our base pay should be as a full-time technician, but it isn't.
I love that. Same. I feel like that's the same on the mobile side. I make a lot more than my former coworkers that I know are still in a clinic. I make a hell
Yeah,
of a lot more.
which is not fair.
No, it's not because I'm not even working at the top of my license, y'all. Like it's
Yeah.
boutique medicine. Like I'm not working at the top of my license.
But if
I'm
that's what clinics are gonna do to us, then me and you, and I know a lot of other people who've started their own business, we're done with it.
yeah,
Okay, fine. You're not gonna pay us what we're worth, and we'll go out and we will figure out a way to get paid what we're worth. And that's what we did.
exactly. Yes, yes, exactly. And I know for like lowballing and clients haggling prices, it's kind of the same on my side. I personally, I think that's very commendable, Jen, for you to be like, okay, let's negotiate versus me. When the few times I've had clients try to negotiate, I like slam the hammer down. I'm like, my prices are firm. Like I ain't doing that shit.
Well,
And
and let me just say before Michelle continues, if there are other technicians that do it differently and are a little bit more firm, like Michelle is, as far as on the relief side, I'd love to hear about I'd love to hear about it. So write us an email about it, and I'd love to hear how you guys fight for that. So if you guys do it differently, and if you guys don't agree with the way that I do it, and you think that I even could do better, I want to hear what your thoughts are and how you guys handle that. So, all right. And then we'll get back to what Michelle was saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
I
you're
just
fine.
am curious
Me
for on
too.
my end.
No, I'm very curious too because I mean, like, it's one of those things. If we kind of live in our own separate little bubbles and we're not communicating to each other, we're never gonna better ourselves.
Right.
So I think it's great to have different points of view, different styles, different methods. So
Hmm.
yeah, if anybody, and even the same thing for the mobile side, if anybody's a little bit more flexible than me, also, yes, please email because I want to know because I know I can be a little strong sometimes when it comes to my clients. Just laugh at me, smile.
But I mean, that's good. That's
I
not a bad thing.
know. I know. But it's because I was so close to burning out because I was so flexible in the beginning. And when people would try to lowball my prices, I'm like, but there's a difference between, hey, do you have like a military discount or do you have like a professional discount? Like if I go to another vet clinic, like the emergency one here actually gives me a professional discount. Thank you so much, by the way, over us. But if like another veterinary professional is like, do I get a discount? I'm like, hell yeah, you're a vet tech. You just want me to, because I actually do have an LVT I used to service before she moved. She worked in laboratory with rats. So she had her dogs and she's like, I don't know how to do this anymore. I'm like, that's why I'm here to help. And she got a professional discount, but she never took it. She'd always tip me way more because I was a tech, but I offered that.
Oh,
So there's definitely different ways, but if a client comes at me, and I actually just posted about this not too long ago on my TikTok, if a potential client comes at me and they're like, that's too much. Will you do it for this much? I will stop right there entertaining the idea of bringing them on as a client. They're done. They've already messed up their chances. That's not happening. I had one particular client, new potential client, a couple years ago, and I had quoted her, and my pricing was way lower back then. I had quoted her, I think, $45 for 3 pet nail trims. And this was, again, probably 4 years ago now, is right when I first started. And she's like, that's too much. I'll do 35. I'm like, oh. And then she said, best of luck to you. Like she was just being a deliberate jerk about it. And I still to this day have this screenshot from the Nextdoor app of it because I was just so taken aback by it. Like, you want less than $15 per pet for somebody to come into your home? And I ignored it because she said best of luck. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not going to negotiate with this lady.
right.
I said like a month and a half later, she sent me a message and she was like, oh, hi, Michelle. I'm hoping you can help out my dog, Bella. I just had surgery on my arm and she needs her anal glands expressed. Do you have anything open today? I'm like, no. I'm like, absolutely not. Not after the way you tried treating me a few months ago when you said, I'll do 35. You're way too much. Best of luck. Well, best of
Yeah.
luck to you now on a Friday afternoon, getting your dog's anal glands expressed because I'm not putting myself through that. Like,
Right. I mean,
that's what, yeah.
that's disrespectful. That's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like with with my situation, we're on a pretty professional level. I'm talking to other professionals. I'm talking to clinics. I'm talking to medical directors and managers and things like that. So, except for the ghosting, I mean, that's not professional. But I
No.
mean, I don't. That doesn't go anywhere. So it's kind of the same thing. I think. I feel like with you, clients, they don't have to be professional. I mean, we see that in vet clinics all the time. They're rude to us all the time. So I totally get that. If there is an inkling of anything, if I was doing what you were doing, yeah, no, I wouldn't put
See
up
ya.
with that.
Nope, nope. If there's any sort of inkling, I'm out. I'll just be like, I don't think I think I've sent out the message a few times, something along the lines of, I don't think that I'm going to be a good fit for you. I don't
Hmm.
think we're going to be a good fit for each other. I hope you find somebody that suits your needs. I always throw out something like that in the times where I've had people try to haggle my pricing because my pricing's firm. They
Yeah,
don't understand. When you message my business page, it literally says LLC. It says licensed veterinary technician. On my website, it says I'm fear free certified. I have all these certifications. I have a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Like, obviously, I'm coming at a premium price and not even a premium price, but I feel like I'm still realistically priced for my area. It's
right,
not too expensive. So when people try to lowball me, I'm just, nope. So in the beginning, that would get to me, but now I just, oh, okay, well, I see the type of client you're gonna be.
right,
Um, Wine taste, beer budget. We're not doing this. I don't think I'm the right fit for you. And I will firm down and say it, and I'm just move on to the next because that client will burn you out and they're not gonna be worth your time again, I assure you.
right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, any inkling of being difficult. I mean, sometimes people in general, they're going to test you. They're going to push your buttons. They're going to see how far they can get with you, just like how dogs are or how kids are. And sometimes clients can be that way. And they, if you give one little, if you're just like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll let this slide now. Nope, that's it.
Nope.
You're done
Yep.
now. Like,
Yep. It's just gonna go downhill from there, y'all.
yep,
Trust me. I've
yep.
tried.
Mm-hmm.
I have certainly tried catering to
People
that,
take
and
advantage.
they will. They'll absolutely. And I think a lot of it comes from, oh, you're a small business. You need my business. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm booked out for 6 weeks. I don't need your business. Like,
Yeah. I'm not desperate over here.
no. And
I'm here to help you.
nope, I'm here to help. And if you don't like it, sorry. But I feel like that's my attitude now. But in the beginning, I wanted so desperately for acceptance. I wanted to please everybody. I wanted to be the, community, vet nurse that everybody loves. And I know nurse is a term we shouldn't use, but that's how I try to educate my clients on my education. But I wanted to be so likable. And now I have my group of clients who I'm very protective over because I'm not going to let a bad client ruin my day, which will ruin my appointment with them. So that's why I personally am very protective. So if I see those low bars coming, I'm like, you're not going to ruin my day because I'm about ready to go see one of my favorite dogs and one of my favorite clients. I'm going to go see Jamie with Max. So I'm not going to let you, new potential client, get me in that mood by trying to accept you and have you lowball me and treat me like garbage. So
Right.
that's how I protect myself. But in the beginning, I would let that happen and I would cry in my car because the client was an asshole. Now I see the patterns and I'm like,
Mhm.
nope, this is a pattern I'm familiar with. You're gone.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
So, and then another thing that now I think Jen, you know this, but I've mentioned before that I worked for a clinic that was like a brand new clinic. She maybe was open for like maybe 8, 9 months before I came around. I was like her second LVT that she hired. So she was a brand new business herself and she had a theory. She told me one day, and I think this absolutely makes sense for new businesses around. She said that since she opened, she got all the high maintenance crazy clients. And if you're in vet
oh,
med, you know what I'm talking about, right? The high maintenance, crazy, I those type of clientele. And God, by golly, she was freaking right though. We had all of these very, very like, I remember one client would never make an appointment. Like he would just bring his cat in, negotiate pricing, and my doctor did not want to negotiate pricing with him. But he'd always try and he would never make an appointment. And this cat came in often. We're like, no, you need to make appointments, bro. And that was just one of them. We had another client who said that she was going to go home and herself and it was going to be our fault, like just the most dramatic, wild clients. And I remember one day she looked at me and she was like, I have a theory. I'm like, what's that? She's like, I'm a brand new business. I'm like, yeah, huh? And she's like, she's like, I think all these people that are coming to me, I'm new. I'm the new kid on the block. They've already tried out every other vet in town. They don't like all of them. None of them were able to make them happy. So now they see me as a brand new clinic and they want to come in and test me out. And I'm like, it makes sense. And now, after I'd say about the second year of my business, I'm like, that doctor was absolutely right. So
Sure.
if you're in your first year or your second year, it's just something I observed at a previous vet clinic and something I observed in my business. People who first come to you, you might get an influx of difficult clients because they've tried out every groomer. They've tried out every vet tech. They've tried out every vet clinic. They've tried out all these other places and they're like, ooh, new meat. I wonder if I'm gonna like them. Are they going to suit my needs? So again, it's just a theory and a pattern that she noticed and a pattern I noticed as a new business. You might attract those type of clients, unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Doesn't
yeah,
it?
I can totally see that.
Right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I said, like they're testing the waters. They're seeing how much they can get away with this specific place.
Hmm.
And if they can get away with getting their way, then they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So don't let them do it. So yeah, that's just something kind of I noticed. And
mhm,
again, my old doctor noticed. I'm like, it's a pattern. And looking back, I think she's right. So
yeah.
if you're in your first year and you're like, man, humans are crazy, that's why I want to show you the patterns to look out for to get you through that first batch of clients that are going to just be those clients where they're never going to be happy anywhere.
Right.
And then also with starting up your new business, there's going to be competition. And that's going to be whether you're doing relief or mobile. Like there's going to be somebody else who's your carbon copy somewhere else. And at least for me, I'm not going to try to hammer this one out too hard. This lady in my area, I could do a whole episode on her. But there's obviously other mobile people in my area who perform the same services I do. Here's the difference though. I'm the only licensed veterinary technician. There is one lady in this area, I don't even know what she is. She's not a certified groomer, she's not a vet tech. She has no credentials and she's out here doing it. And she charges more than me, by the way, like $10 more than me, which I think is insane. I don't know how she does it.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yes, and then there's another girl who is I like her. She has an LLC as well. She's legit. She is a certified dog trainer, so she does mobile nail services in my area as well too. I think she's legit. And then there's another girl who just popped up who advertises like every other week, and she's way undercutting the three of us. So she's brand new, and I would say, like, I see her posting like 4 or 5 times a week in all the community groups, and she is $10 less than me. And she does like multiple pet discounts, way steeper. So once we're talking about like 4 dogs, she's literally a third of the 2/3 less than me.
Oh wow.
Yep. So it's difficult when you see that happening, but then I have to think to myself, I know the type of clientele she's attracting with those prices, and I don't want them
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yeah.
I have to keep that in mind. So you're not going to be the only person in town. And if you're a licensed technician, you're listening to this, you need to flaunt that license. You need to tell your clients why you are worth what you're charging, because me, I'm the only licensed vet tech in my area. But it does burn me out a little bit to see somebody who is not a licensed vet tech who runs an illegally set up business. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. She's lied to her clients about her certifications. She has lied to her clients about potential opportunities that she has had. And she at one point had said in a professional setting that I was a wannabe vet tech. I'm like, no, I do have a license. But
Yeah.
also my name was changing at the time. I was getting ready to change my last name so I could see where if you look me up, like you won't find me, but I am an
Yeah.
LVT. Um, so just by knowing that there's somebody in my area that has no training, no credentials, and is running an illegal business, for me, it does upset me a little bit because I'm doing everything by the book. I have an LLC. I report my income to the government. I do everything correctly. And then when you see somebody coming in and they're illegally set up, their LLC is not in their name, they only do cash payments, or I think it's Facebook Pay, and they're
Oh.
doing, I know it's some shady stuff. It's very discouraging, and that they lie about being fear-free certified when they're not, and I am fear-free certified. it gets very discouraging. And I'm hoping there's not many people out there like this individual in my town. But when a potential client goes to her and not to me based off of her lies, it's frustrating when I'm like, I put so much money into my business. I invest a lot of money into my business and others don't. And they're kind of like little pop ups like that. It's very frustrating to know that that's going on when you do everything by the books. You want to be better for your clients, you want to be better for the pets that you service, but then somebody else comes in and does everything illegally. It's not set up correctly. They're a walking lawsuit.
I can see how you feel. Why are they going to her when you've put in all this work and you are the professional one? And y- I get it. But
Yeah.
I also feel, and because I've been this way too, and I'm one of those people now where what's meant for you is meant for you. So those clients that are choosing to go to her as opposed to go to you, those clients aren't meant for you. They
Yeah.
who even knows how those clients are. Maybe they're difficult clients. And it's sad. I get it because I mean, you look at it now and you can see how many people believe influencers over their veterinarians or veterinary professionals who have gone to school, who do see things every day, and they go to their influencer and they say, well, my social media influencer that I follow says this, and it's opposite of what you say.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's just, I don't want to say it's a losing battle, but it's definitely a battle
It
that we
is.
will probably have to keep fighting. And I don't know if it will get better as far as professional versus non-professional. It is the new popular thing to say, well, just because you're credentialed or just because you're a professional doesn't actually mean you know what you're talking about. Or we're trying to push an agenda, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep. We're
Yeah.
agenda pushers. Yes.
We're
And
trying to push an agenda. And I know that I'm not. I can't say that for everyone. I have worked for veterinarians that I do think that are in it for the money. And I've worked for veterinarians that I know for a fact aren't in it for the money. Never met a veterinary technician that's in it for the money because we don't make enough money to be in it for the money.
yes.
So
I wish.
we we know what we know based on what we experience and what we see every day in the clinic. And I'm also not going to be the first one to say that I agree with every single thing that veterinarians push for certain things, but I have my reasons for it. And so it's it's hard, but at the same time, if those clients aren't going to you, then they're not for you. They're definitely not. They're not for you. And
Yeah,
who's to say that they would even stick with you anyway,
it's
even
true.
if they did try you? So I get it. It is frustrating. And I see that on my end too, because we talk about licensed veterinary technicians, and I see a lot of relief assistants in my area. And I have more experience. I believe that I might have more skills as far as things that I can do and the services that I can perform. And I've been overlooked over non credentialed assistants because they can pay assistants less than me.
Oh,
Because I'll ask for a certain amount of money, and then I know that an assistant will just turn around and ask for $8 to $10 less, and they'll be like, yeah, yeah, we can do that. And it has been upsetting to me,
yeah.
but at
Especially you're
this,
recover certified, right?
yeah,
So you should definitely be worth way more than any veterinary assistant.
yeah. But then I think about it, and I think about the times that I know that has happened to me, and it has been for clinics that won't utilize me to the top of my performance anyway. Those are the clinics that will not utilize me to the top of my performance. So, are those clinics that I even want to work for anyway? Would I even really be happy working for those clinics anyway?
True.
And if they don't see my worth, if those clinics do not see my worth over an assistant, then do I want to work for them anyway? And the answer is no.
I like that. Yeah. No, that's totally right. Because if they don't see your worth versus, and we love our assistants 100%, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, like, one of my best friends is an assistant too, actually.
Yeah, me
But
too.
yeah, if they don't see your worth, that you're a credentialed technician who is recover certified and that you can come in and just hit the ground running, then yeah, you don't want to work for a clinic like that. Just like for the lady in my area, if the clients don't see my worth when there's another girl who's charging, I think, like I said, like $10 a pop less than me per dog, and she's only shadowed vet clinics versus me, I'm a licensed vet tech, it's frustrating because I'm like, you kind of get what you pay for, at least with me.
Yeah,
Maybe not in vet med, but at least with me when it comes to my industry being mobile, like just knowing the other three people in my area, you get what you pay for.
yeah,
And me and the certified dog trainer who also has an LLC, I think me and her, we're the best in the area, to be honest, but we're also priced appropriately.
yeah.
And, but again, it's frustrating when somebody's undercutting you and clients are like, oh yeah, she's a vet tech. I'm like, no, y'all, it says right there, she's shadowed in veterinary clinic. She's not a tech. So there's also a lot of confusion on my
Right.
area too, because
Yeah,
everybody's a
shadowing
tech.
is not even close to the same
Yeah,
thing. Not no,
yeah,
absolutely not. You didn't
yeah,
shadowing
yeah, and
in
now
my
she's out here doing nail
experience, you don't
trims.
even touch animals when you shadow. You're just watching
Yeah,
people do things.
yep, yeah, but it's frustrating, and it's something that's led to me feeling a little bit burnout is when somebody's like, "Oh, I shadowed in a vet clinic, so I'm gonna be way less than the other girls. I'm just as good," and probably not, but I'm like, and then for the other person who's illegally set up and only taking cash payments and it's very sketchy, who
Yeah.
trash talks the industry, it's like,
Yeah, that's
it's
what's most frustrating is trash talking the industry for sure.
it is. And
But
what
I mean, it doesn't
yeah.
sound like she's has a lot of integrity if she is talking that much smack.
No, and God, I'm not gonna go off, but no, she has absolutely no integrity. And here's the part that gets me. Is she always says that she's veterinary recommended. But yeah, if you go to any one of her social media pages, it's literally anti-veterinary garbage. It's all like we're we got our agenda. We're trying
Yeah.
to make money. And she literally has a post, and I screenshotted it, where she said she was speaking out against like Librella, and that's controversial. I'm not gonna go there. That's
Yeah.
not the important part. The important part is she said, we all know vets are only in it for the money. I'm like, but I thought you're veterinary recommended, bro. Like,
Right.
obviously you're not, because you think we're all full of money. And the interesting part is she tells her clients to give garlic for heartworm prevention because it's poison, it's toxic. And one of her clients 2 years ago came to me, and about 4 months after seeing me, they tested positive for heartworm disease. I'm like,
Oh, I
oh,
remember you mentioned that
yeah,
before.
exactly. Yeah. So it's like one of those things, like it burns my cookies when somebody's out here doing anti-veterinary stuff and telling clients that I'm recommending heartworm prevention because I get a kickback. I'm like, I wish I did. And
Mhm.
seriously, if BI, if you're listening, yeah, I would like some kickbacks, okay? Or whoever makes Simparica Trio, because that's what my dogs are on. Like,
Oh
give me
my
some
gosh, yeah, and that
kickbacks.
stuff is expensive.
Please, yes, I'll take it. But I'm not. But that's the thing, is like, I feel like seeing how others operate their business, and there's no integrity, there's no training, and you have integrity, you have training, it's going to burn you out just a little bit, probably. That's going to lead to maybe some burnout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I personally too want to say for unlicensed or for assistants who are not licensed is I think that it's important. This is why I do think it is important for you to get licensed because if you are going to be doing relief and you are going to be owning your own business, I mean, you're cutting yourself short by not being licensed because they have every excuse to pay you less than they would pay a licensed technician. And why do you want to cut yourself short on that? Go get licensed and go get what you're worth being paid. Because I know a lot of assistants that aren't licensed that are just as badass as licensed technicians. So go get that license. I mean, what's
Yeah.
stopping you? I
Yeah.
mean,
Go get
seriously.
licensed. Yes. That's so important. I love that, how we're both so agreeing on it. Like, license, just that's so important.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know and I've heard this excuse by so many people and this same excuse is exactly what happened to me, but I didn't use it as an excuse. But I have a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I don't want to get licensed because it's not required in my state. And even if I did get licensed, I would get just $1 raise anyway at the clinic that I'm working at. And it's like, okay, so are you planning on working at that clinic forever?
Forever?
Is that your future? Because I also only got a dollar raise when I became licensed at the clinic that I was working at, and now I'm making significantly more than I was making from that $1 raise because I decided to move on. I decided to do other things, and I had a lot of doors that were open for me, a lot of opportunities that open for you. If
Yep.
at that clinic they tell you it's not worth it because you're only going to get a dollar raise, is that where you're going to be forever? Or if you say, well, the state that I'm working in doesn't require it, are you going to live in that state forever? Do you know
Mhm.
what your future's going to hold? Because I also know there's also a lot of states out there that are changing their rules, and there's a lot of states out there that have the rule. So, are you planning on living in that state forever? Because you don't know you don't know where you're going to go, and you also don't want to be stuck and limited to where you're at because that's where you're allowed to practice. You want to have the freedom to do what you want to do. So get the license, and then you will have doors that will open for you. And then you won't be limited to the state that you're living in, and you won't be limited to someone. You just won't be limited.
I was gonna
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna throw in that, and like you said, your state may change its practice act in the next coming years. A lot of states are tightening their belt buckles on what we can call ourselves and what we can do. And you never know when your state might just say, hey, guess what? You're now an assistant and this is your scope of license. And you would wish, man, I wish I would have had the opportunity. I wish I would have taken the opportunity to go back to school and get my license when I could. So, like Jen said, you can't rely on something forever, and that's including your title.
Yep.
And I feel like me and Jen have talked about like a lot of negative things that'll burn you out, right? Whether you're relief or whether you're mobile, like a lot of it pay clients, but then at least on the mobile side, there's something that is so beautiful about the work that I do that leads me to burnout, and it's the amount of compassion I have gained. And this is just a heads up that if you're starting this now, the years that you have spent building up your walls, and you know what I'm talking about. If you're a vet tech or a veterinary assistant, you have the walls to where you don't get attached because it's a part of the job. Well, we're boutique medicine, by the way. I've now thought boutique medicine. One of my clients is a human nurse who went into aesthetics, and she calls it boutique medicine. And that is because everybody is very happy. She went from doing bedside, like what most of the technicians do is like bedside care, angry clients, hurting pets, to now clients who love you, pets that love you. You come in once a month, you're the treat lady. The clients want to talk to you about their holidays, and you get attached, y'all. This is the hard part, is getting attached. And I've mentioned this so many times to my clients. What hurts the most is when you've been doing this for a few years and you see the same person every 4 weeks and that pet passes away. Oh God, that's hard. Oh, that's hard. Because then I'm like, well, I'm still invested in your life. I've heard about your coworkers for the past 4 years. I've heard about your spouse for the past 4 years. I've heard about your kids, your hobbies, things that you don't like. I know what your favorite types of movies are. And now that your pet is gone, I'm not going to see you anymore. That sucks. And that, to me, I have discovered in the past year has been the most difficult and challenging part about this job, is when I truly fall in love with an owner and their pet, and the owner or the pet passes away. And I've had that happen where I've had one of my elderly clients pass away, Miss Judy, not the dog Judy, but the human Judy. And when she passed away suddenly, like that sucked. And it took me a good 4 months to get used to that route, not having human Judy on it.
Mhm.
And I still kind of miss her a little bit. And then I found out last week that one of my original clients, who's one of the sweetest ladies in the world, she maybe has a couple weeks left. Her cat
Mm.
passed away about a year ago now, is when her cat passed away, but I saw her for 2 years once a month. And I enjoyed her. She was like a grandma to me a little bit. And one time her cat actually got me really hard on the finger and scratched me, and I was bleeding, and she bandaged me up. And just like the
Aw.
inner child in me came out. I'm like, Grandma, I got boo boo. And she bandaged up my finger. And I still see her sister in law on a very regular basis. One of her sister in laws, one of my best clients. And she told me that my old client, her sister-in-law's terminal with a couple weeks left to live.
Mm,
And even though I haven't seen her in a year, like, my heart just started breaking. I'm like, "Oh my god, I love her. This is so sad. She was so sweet, and her cat passed away a year ago." So it's situations like that because our relationship is so much different over here because you're the happy veterinary person that comes into their home. You get used to the dogs wagging their tail, like, just jumping at the door. The clients embrace you, and it's such a wonderful feeling that when it goes away, it can be very hard, and I'm still struggling with that myself, is when that good client or that good pet passes away. It's hard because, again, the clients are happy, the dogs are happy, my schedule's happy, my life is
mhm,
happy, and when it's taken away, it sucks, and I feel like that can lead to a little bit of burnout. It
mhm.
definitely can lead to burnout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I didn't think about that, but
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense too.
Yep, yep.
How sad that can be in the type of relationships. But I mean, we also talked about in Jesse's episode of just the type of relationships that you can acquire and how that can just be hard on you because we're such emotional beings, people in veterinary medicine. We're so emotional and we're so empathetic and we just have a heart for those things. And so when we lose those relationships, I mean, it's very, very
It's
difficult on
hard.
us. So,
It's
I can see
hard.
that.
Yeah, and a
It's not
lot of my
something I've thought about.
clients yeah, a lot of my clients who are listening know it was in March. I had a dog who was like a day one client who I walked her 3 times a week for 3.5 years. And I know there's a feud between human doctors and us veterinary professionals, and they were both human doctors, and they were so respectful of me. They took my advice. They always take their doctor's advice. They did everything by the books for their dog. They were wonderful, wonderful people. And their young 7-year-old healthy lab got cancer and
Mm,
just declined within a couple weeks. And that, oh, that sucked because I'm like, this dog would also stay in my house for weeks on end while they were on vacation. When they would go on vacation, they would go for like 2 or 3 weeks. So she was with me a lot. She slept in my bed with me. Even my own
mm,
dogs don't sleep in my bed, but she got that privilege. And when she passed away, it was really hard. I was so used to seeing her 3 out of my 4 working days. And
right.
then all of a sudden I come back from WVC and she's gone. And we knew she had a couple weeks left to live. And I still think about her and I still think about those owners. And I met those owners, I'd say maybe 7, 8 times over the course of 3.5 years because they were primarily gone when I was at their residence. But the fact that they treated me with so much respect meant a lot to me. And I will say this, kind of unrelated, but I feel like they hired me at the time just because I was a licensed vet tech. I didn't even have my LLC at the time. I didn't even have insurance at the time. I was just, floating around. And I was like, well, here's my vet tech license. And I explained to them I was like a human nurse or
Hmm.
to a human doctor. I had no
Yeah.
idea that they were human doctors, you guys. And the male owner gave me his card and I went out to my car and I was like, oh shit, I probably called him a human doctor, didn't I? And I didn't know they were human doctors. And I felt like so embarrassed. But from that point on, every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for almost 4 years, I walked that dog. So I got very attached to the owners and the dog. And when she passed away, I was like, damn, this sucks. So
Yeah.
it's just be prepared for stuff like that, you guys. I think that wraps it about up for burnout. Jen, what do you
Yeah.
think? Anything else to add on burnout? Did we cover everything?
I don't think we covered everything, but I think we
Sure.
talked about a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I think that there's different aspects of burnout that we can talk about. So I think that this was a good start. I think that we'll probably definitely have another episode on burnout in general again when more things pop up. But I think that this was a really good conversation for our first episode on burnout.
Thank you. I agree. Yes. Yep. Very good. To sum it all up, training, education, get paid what you're worth, set up your boundaries, and try not to fall in love with your clients, but you will. All right.
All right, and just like at the end of every episode, we are doing our show dedication, and this time around, it's up to Michelle what her show dedication is. So, who would you like to dedicate this show to, Michelle?
I've been thinking about this one for a while, and this is my second one. Definitely my friend Joanne. I usually call her by her last name, but I'm just going to call her Joanne, and she is a DVM, so that's why I usually call her by her last name because I'm still not used to getting called. I'm still not used to calling her Joanne yet, even though we've been very good friends for 12 years. We met when we were babies. She was a baby duck. I was a baby tech. We worked together for like 2 years, and then we've been good friends ever since and haven't worked together since then. But she has been my ride or die veterinary partner. Whenever I have vet stuff to talk about, I usually go running to her. And not like personal pet stuff, but like work, because she gets it. And she just recently purchased her very own clinic. She closed on it about 5 weeks ago at this point. So I'm very excited for her. We have a new privately owned practice in an area close to my house. And she had achieved her childhood dream of opening up her own practice. And I couldn't be more happy and be more proud to call her my friend after 10, 11 years of friendship and 1 year of working together. And so, especially dedicating this episode to her means a lot because we are talking about burnout. And I think that her techs are definitely not going to burn out because that clinic is her baby and those staff, they mean the world to her. And just working for her for a year, I can see why I was like, no, you're not going to be my doc. You're going to be my friend. Yep.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
yes. So
Aw,
that's my dedication for today is to Joanne.
awesome. All right. All right, you guys, we will talk to you later, okay? Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to Endless Journeys, the VetTech Odyssey podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found some valuable insights. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave us a review and let us know what you think. You can also connect with us on all social media platforms at Endless Journeys, the VetTech Odyssey podcast. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a positive impact in the veterinary world. We need you guys. Have a great day.